$4.99. You just read that as $4. Be honest, it didn't feel like 5. It felt like 4 and a little dust on top. Nobody rounds $4.99 up to 5 in their head. We just don't. But $4.99 is one single penny away from $5 whole, 1 cent. That's the entire gap. And yet your brain filed it on the cheap side of the shelf without asking you first. This happens to you dozens of times a day. Every menu, every gas station sign, every checkout screen, somebody figured out, a long time ago, exactly how your eyes read a number. And they've been quietly charging you that missing penny ever since. Count them sometime. Walk down any aisle and try to find a price that doesn't end in 9. It's weirdly hard. So let's talk about the 9 at the end of almost every price you'll see today, and the very small trick it's playing on a very old part of your brain. By the end of this, you won't look at a price tag the same way. Stick with me. There's a name for this. It's called charm pricing, a price that ends in 9. 99 cents, $99. A 9 hung on the end somewhere. And the engine running underneath it has a name too. Psychologists call it the left digit effect. Because your brain doesn't read a price the way a calculator does. It reads a price the way it reads everything else, left to right. And it makes up its mind early. Once you see how it makes that call, you can't unsee it. Picture the number on the tag, 4.99. Your eye lands on the 4 first. And in that first instant, before you've even finished reading, your brain has already grabbed an anchor, 4 something, in the $4 family. The cents on the end? They arrive late. By the time you read them, the size of the number is already decided. It's a little like reading the first word of a headline and deciding what the whole story is about. So you round the feeling down, not up. $3.99 feels like 3. $19.99 feels like 19. Not 20, 19. Here's how strong that pull is. The gap between $2.99 and $3 is 1 cent. The gap between $2.99 and $2.01 is 98 cents, 98 times bigger. But which one feels like the bigger jump? The single penny. The one that flips the left digit from a 2 to a 3. That flip is the whole game. Retailers know exactly where those flips are. Every round number is a wall, and the price sits 1 penny below it. Cross a round number, and the price suddenly feels like it belongs on a higher shelf. Stay 1 cent underneath it, and it hides on the lower one. Watch it happen in real life. A coffee at $2.95 and a coffee at $3.05 are basically the same money, 10 cents apart. But the first one feels like a $2 coffee, a small treat. The second feels like you're now spending $3 whole on coffee, and some little part of you flinches. Same drink, same dime of difference. Completely different story your brain tells about it. Your wallet knows they're a dime apart. Your gut swears one is cheap and one is a splurge. So the store isn't lowering the price much at all. It's lowering the digit you look at first. But the left digit trick only explains part of it. Because a 9 does something a 5 or a 7 just doesn't. Over a whole lifetime of shopping, you've been trained. 9 on the end means one thing, a deal. You've seen it on 10,000 sale tags, clearance racks, discount bins. The little yellow sticker. Toy stores, grocery aisles, app stores, gas pumps. The 9 is everywhere you spend. So somewhere along the way, the 9 stopped being a number. It became a signal that says, this one's a bargain. And here's the strange part. That signal keeps working even when it's lying to you. There's a famous experiment for this. Researchers took a real women's clothing catalog and printed 3 versions of it. Same dress, same page. The only thing that changed was the price. In one version, $34. In another, $39. In the last, $44. Now, common sense says the cheapest one wins. 34 should have sold the most. It didn't. 39 did. It beat 44, no surprise there, but it also beat 34. People bought more of the exact same dress when it cost $5 more, because the 9 on the end whispered deal, and the lower, rounder number just whispered a number. The number got bigger, but it felt smaller. Think about what that means if you run a store. You can raise the price and sell more of the thing. Raise the price and sell more. If you've ever run a lemonade stand, you know how backwards that sounds. That's about the closest thing retail has to actual magic. The price went up. The sales went up with it. That's not a discount doing the work. That's a single digit, wearing a costume you were taught to trust. So where did this 9 even come from? Nobody sat you down and taught you the rule. So who started it? For this, we have to go back well over 100 years, to the end of the 1800s, crowded city streets, shop windows, and newspapers. The story has two threads, and honestly, they're tangled together. The first thread is the newspaper price war. Papers were clawing for readers, and stores were screaming prices in the ads. Undercut a rival by a single cent, and 99 looked louder on the page than a plain round dollar. In a wall of tiny newspaper print, a price a hair under the round number jumped out as the bargain. So odd prices started, partly as a way to shout cheaper in print. The second thread is darker and cleverer. Picture the shopkeeper of that era, standing at a brand new invention, the cash register. The problem an owner had back then was simple. A round price is easy to steal from. A customer hands over exactly $1. The clerk quietly slips it into a pocket, and nobody's the wiser. No change needed, no reason to ever open the drawer, but make the price 99 cents. And now the clerk has to open that register to make a penny of change, which rings the bell, records the sale, drops the dollar in the drawer instead of the apron. Every sale on the record. Every dollar accounted for. So the story goes, the 99-cent price wasn't born to trick the customer at all. It was born to keep an honest eye on the staff. Now, to be fair, historians argue about how much of that is true and how much is just a good story told later. But whichever thread you believe, notice where they both end up. An odd price, ending in 9, that everyone in the shop got used to seeing. And once your great-great-grandparents were used to it, the habit simply never left. Over 100 years later, you're still reading that 9, in a shop those shopkeepers could never have imagined. So stand back and look at the whole thing at once. By the time a modern price tag reaches your eyes, 3 separate forces are stacked inside that one little 9. 1. The eye that reads left to right and decides how big a number is before it finishes reading it. 2. A lifetime of training that quietly turned 9 into a secret handshake for a deal. 3. A habit more than a century deep, so old it just feels like the natural way prices have always been, and you don't fall for it because you're careless. You fall for it because the trick is aimed at something older and faster than careful thought. No single one of these forces is that strong on its own. You, one shopper, feel a tiny nudge. Multiply that nudge by a whole country, and it's real money. Stacked together, they move billions of dollars a year. But here's the twist that gives the whole thing away. The 9 isn't always the trick. Look at the expensive stuff, the things you're supposed to take seriously. A luxury watch, a lawyer's hourly rate, the asking price of a house. Those almost never end in 99. They land on round, confident numbers. 40,000, 500, 1,200, flat. Because a round number feels deliberate, chosen, serious. And a 99 feels like it's straining, just a little, to seem cheap. So the same tiny digit that whispers bargain on a candy bar would whisper desperate on a diamond. Which tells you something. The 9 was never really about the money. It was always about the feeling the seller wanted you to walk away with. So, one thing to actually carry out of this. The next time a price ends in 99, you're going to notice it now. You won't be able to help it. And in that half second of noticing, you can do the one thing your brain likes to skip. Read the whole number, all of it, the penny on the end too. And ask the quiet little question the tag is hoping you won't. Is this actually cheap? Or does it just end in 9? You don't have to become suspicious of everything. That's exhausting and mostly pointless. Most of the time, it's a fair price and it's fine and you buy the thing and get on with your day. But every so often, that last little digit is the only thing standing between $4 and 5. Just that half second. That's all it takes to see the penny for what it is. You've been handing over that penny your whole life without ever really seeing it. Now you'll see it. And that first digit, the big one your eye jumps to and trusts, from now on, read past it.